Hello, my name is Rachel and I love chain and scale mail. And today I wanted to do another little tutorial, and I thought what I would start with is European 4-in-1. European 4-in-1 is an incredibly versatile weave, and I thought I'd start with it because it's the very first weave I ever learned. And first I'm just going to show you some examples. This is with a 1/4 inch ring. 4-in-1 is perfect for making sheets, so it's great for making apparel like bra tops and little skirts. And I really like how closed the 1/4 inch 16 gauge rings are, so I think it's perfect for bra tops. This is the, again, 16 gauge, but these are the 5/16 rings, and you can see how that's a much more open weave, and I used that for this shoulder piece. But it's also great for making smaller things like jewelry. Again, this is the 1/4 inch, and I made a little vampire's bite choker. And this is actually a 3/16 inch, and you can see, again, 16 gauge, and you can see how that makes a really nice super tight weave, and that looks really pretty. And it's also great, I make these little dice bags with the 4-in-1. Has a little bag of dice inside. So as you can see, the European 4-in-1 is an incredibly versatile weave. You can do everything from like the little bags, the apparel, jewelry. It's one of my favorite weaves. So what I'm going to use today for this is I'm going to use some safety pins, and I'll show you why I have those in a minute. I of course need a pair of pliers. And the rings I'm using today are actually the 16 gauge 5/16. I'm hoping they'll be big enough that you'll be able to see more of the detail and understand what I'm doing. So let me get us flipped around and show you how to do European 4-in-1. And I'm actually going to show you 2 different directional techniques that will make things really simple, hopefully, for you. So this first method I'm going to show to you is great for making triangles, and triangles are a great base for the bra tops, and even in smaller sized rings, components for different jewelry pieces. And I'm using 16 gauge 5/16 rings. I'm hoping they'll be big enough for you to be able to see the detail. I'm going to use 2 different colors because I'm hoping that'll also help you see the detail a little bit better. And I'm actually going to start by taking 2 of my red rings and just closing them. And with the rings, when you open and close them, you always just want to slide front or backwards. You never want to pull them apart. If you slide them front or back, that way when you go to close them, you can always get a nice smooth closure on that ring. And when you're purchasing rings, there are a couple different styles you can get. These are what's known as saw cut, and saw cut are always going to have a smoother finish there, and the saw cut do give you a much cleaner finished product. But you can also get a machine cut, which has a rougher edge and doesn't always close as smoothly. But there's my 2 closed rings. Now I'm going to take a silver ring, and this one's already open enough, and I'm going to put on my 2 red rings. I'm also going to put on a safety pin, and I like to use the safety pin to show me where the start of my weave is. So for my second row, I'm going to go back to silver, and you can see we have these 3 rings here, and you just want to take a silver ring, open it up, and again just grasp those first two rings you had, close it, and now we have this. And then each of the end rings, the red end rings, we're going to put 1 ring on, just through the 1 ring. And you can already see how a triangle is forming. So my next row, I'll go back to the red. And I'm going to start with these first 2 rings. So I did have to pause my recording for a bit, so if I repeat anything, sorry about that. Don't 100% remember where I left off, but now we're going to do, we just done these 2 rings here on our 3rd row, and now we're going to do those second 2 rings. And I don't know if you can see, but each row travels in a different direction. The rings lay in a different direction, so you make sure you keep that direction going. So that first ring is leaning this way, the second 2 are leaning this way, and these are leaning that way, and then this row we're working on now, they're all leaning this way. And now to build our triangle, of course, we do that 1 on each end ring, just goes through the 1 ring at the end to build out our triangle. There you go. You can see our triangle is getting larger, and this is a great direction to go if you want to make a bra top. You would just keep building until you had the cup size that you wanted, and then you would make a second one, and then you would come up with creative ways to attach them and put on straps and either build a chain for around the back, or I like to use ribbons because I feel they're just more comfortable, and when people move in them, they have a little more give. Sometimes when I've made them with chains across the back, the chains don't have give, so that they could snap if you move wrong. So that's why I like to do ribbons across the back of my tops. But you, of course, can creatively do whatever you like with that. So the next thing I'm going to show here, as you can see, if we kept doing this, building our triangles out. But now I'm going to shrink it back down, because this is another great thing to do. And to shrink it back down, that of course is super easy. Put in our first ring there. Ring through those 2. And then through the last 2. Go back to our red. And these are great if you went large all the way to the size of your bra cup and then took it back down into a huge diamond. You can make 2 diamonds and make a really cool halter top that way. Or for smaller pieces, if you used a smaller ring for a tighter weave, and even this wouldn't be too terrible, you could make things like earrings or pendants, stuff like that. So that's why this method is convenient. You can get those triangles going. You can easily make the diamonds. You can make a bunch of, like, again, I would use a tighter weave ring, like either the 1/4 inch or maybe even that really tight 3/16 inch. And you could make several diamonds and hook them together to make a cool little bracelet. So it's just a really versatile shape to be able to make with the 4-in-1. And now for the second method I want to show you. We'll put our little diamond to the side here. And our second method, I'm going to start by closing several of these silver rings. Okay, so now that I have a little pile of closed rings, I'm going to take a red ring, open that up. I'm going to, just like we started with the other one, I'm going to put 2 on here. And I'm also going to hook on my safety pin to know where the end of my weave is. But this time what we're going to do is we're going to turn these 2 out this way, if you can see that. And then I'm going to take another red ring, open that up, and then you'll want to put it in a way that it'll keep that shape. And then add 2 more silver rings. And see with that safety pin, see how these rings can tangle up like that? But if you have that safety pin, you just pull it and they pop right back into place. So that's why I like using that safety pin. Then we open up another red ring. And again, you want to make sure there has this shape to it. And then we'll keep doing this till it's the length we want. I'm going to stop there on the length, and I do like to also mark this end. And I'm out of safety pins, so I'm just going to attach this little scale so I know where this end is. And I'll just do one more ring like this, and then just add my scale. And that way my ends won't get tangled. It'll just be like that. And then the way you would build from here, start with those first 2. And again, notice the directions. This one, the rings are laying this way. This row, the rings are laying this way. So the row we're working on now, the rings will be laying that way again. And again, you would just keep doing that row after row until you have the width that you want. And this weave I think is great for things like chokers, bracelets, and when you do thicker pieces, you can also use it for different parts of garments. And belts is great for doing belts. So those were the 2 methods of European 4-in-1 I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully the instructions were clear enough and you got some idea of what I was doing from all of that. And if you have any questions, please ask me in the comments below. And if there's anything that you think I could do to improve these type of tutorials, please also mention that in the comments below. And I thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.